this fellow that the British went and actually rescued from his own people in India. His name was I talk about him a lot. We've had a discussion and meditation and prayer from the time I was a little kid. Okay, I always felt closest to the Buddha. I felt as close to the Buddha once I understood who he was and was told who he was. As I felt as close to him as I did to Jesus. Um, and I always had strong connections to Japan and China spiritually, and Sun Yat-sen prays to Jesus and then talks about how he can help get us to the future where we're living the apocalypse and stuff because he read the Bible, and same with Ditiro Suzuki. All right, so I've always felt these strong connections, not just because my uncle was married to an Okinawan woman, but just always felt these strong connections. When I remember when we watched James Cavell's Shogun, I was like, oh my God, that'd be a horrible culture to live in. But feudal culture in Japan was not a stone's throw any more horrible than feudal culture in Germany and Britain, right? It was horrible. It was absolutely hideous, right? And so eternal wretchedness, Blaise Pascal. And so when you sit there and you're one of the eternal faithful, getting together large armies, declaring yourself authority over people's lives through idolatry and inventing your own laws on a piece of paper and have everybody agree to it because they're the same jealous, aggressive, violent sex cult addictions and behaviors over hundreds of thousands of years, just like Albert Einstein explained in relativity, right? And so, wow, 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 like Killian watching the Bubble Machine. Wow, wow, wow. He's so cute. He's very cute. I love that kid so much. My relationship with his biological father hurt me so much. You know, I knew he was part of a religious cult that was meant to see me as the enemy because of the way I think, speak, and act, right? Which is what religious cults did to Jesus Christ. John the Baptist, Barak and David, chant, right? I don't buy tribalism. If you throw it at me, it's no. We're not here to go at war with each other because of our violent sex cult tendencies and preferences. Asshole. He's drunken. He stagger around alleys, cities, and towns, drunk on his own delusions of power and fame through his genitalia and his brain. Solution he tries to drown. Solution to his problems. Solution to his problems can never be found. Booze is what he chews. Like a gypsy, he's tipsy, he drink too much whiskey. Dripsy, he's gypsy, he drink too much. Man, no sober. No. When I drank, I realized I wasn't in control of my facsimiles like I wanted to be. And I wanted to be in control, so I didn't let any kind of escape type and selfish behaviors affect anybody in my life, right? Because I love people, I love children. There's a lot of people when people get selfish and aggressive and abusive, I don't like, and that's why I quit playing sports. Okay, because I knew, and I would see visions that were planted in my brain still remain, and I used to think I was delusional, and I wasn't. I'd kicked his ass, used him to kick your ass, kicked Mahorn's ass with Lambier, right? Yeah, that's what happened. And Charles Barkley be what? Mark be sitting there going, yeah, that's Earl. Okay, don't piss him off. He's a 165-pound point guard. He just beat up those two for trying to hurt people. Yeah. He told them to stop, and then they said, what you going to do about it? Don't you get so mad about it? I'm going to sing Jeffrey Osborne songs to you. When you want all the love you deserve, and the truth is on your mind. I'm fixing the lyrics. Don't you even think about it. I'll be there just right behind you. Slee Stack. David Greenwood was one of my favorites. Yeah, I like David Greenwood a lot. David Greenwood, Richard Washington, David Hamilton, Michael Holton. I liked lots of UCLA players. Rocket Rod Foster, Mike Sanders. I liked Kenny Fields too, but Mike Sanders, who was the other forward? He was really good. I liked him too. But those five freshmen, they were the Fab Five before the Fab Five, that what's his face, Larry Brown had, took them to the championship. They lost, but they were a very good team. You couldn't help but root for them because mom liked Larry Brown. I liked him too. And the kids, you just liked them. Okay. Mike Sanders, he wasn't the freshman. Mike Sanders was good though. He's a center. He's 6'6". He's like Michael Wright. And all. Don't you love, and Jesse Perry from a U of A? Don't you love those undersized centers that get in there and battle with the 7-footers? And did you just love that? Like Barkley used to do with the big guys, and he's only like 6'4", and these guys are like 7 feet, and he's out rebounding them, and you get like, yeah, you get it's a David Goliath thing. You don't mean to be, because. I used to get mad at the way they talked about Marvin Webster. And what other talk? I love Ralph Sampson. So Ralph Sampson was my favorite basketball players, and I used to hate the way they all, Goliath, and he's a sweetheart of a kid. He's not abusive, he's not mean, and he's not shitty. He's a nice kid. He just happens to be 7'4". Okay, but he's a sweetheart of a guy. It's not just because he's a cancer. The way he played basketball, he tried not to play dirty. He didn't have a competitive problems and issues like I told you that time when he blocked Kareem's hook shot, and Kareem looked at him because Kareem's an Aries. He's why don't you do that every time? I'm not going to Bill Walton destroy my body. They did anyway because they turned him into a circus gimmick. But all Ralph really wanted to do was get a nice job like me and Martin Yates and other cancers. All we want to do is just get enough money to take care of our family, then go back home to where we're from, and then just, build a basketball barn and listen to Tommy Edwards tunes. And we're like that, so you like that, right? Don't be a fool. Don't throw your life away. Don't be a fool. That's just strictly Carl McIntosh, right? I think so. He got the things to lose. Is Karen Wheeler on that group? I like Karen Wheeler. Anybody else like Karen Wheeler? I think she is. I'm not sure. But Karen Wheeler, wasn't she also in, I think so, Puff the Magic Dragon's got you trapped inside. Wasn't she also in the, Back to Life, Back to Yellow is the color of sun rays? Which one's that? Keep on moving, don't stop. Yeah, anybody else like Jazzy? He also does music for the, was it Jezebel, this Brixton queen who's just telling me lies when the truth was clear? I think he did music for Maxi Priest, right? Say a Prayer for the World, and what was the other one? I can't remember. It's been a long time, but yeah. Oh, me and Brian and Steffi were really into Maxi Priest. We love Maxi Priest. He's one of our favorite. He has a really cool, smooth voice, right? Well, a lot of people in my generation, he was probably one of their favorite reggae singers. You don't love me anymore. Don't hurt the way I do. Crying over you. He had a really nice voice, and he had that patois accent. It wasn't as thick when he sang as when he talked, right? But and my favorites, reminds me of my second wife. Boom, boom, boom. Yes, I'm so crazy about you, baby. You're the one for me, Susie, you are. I talked to her about it. She doesn't believe me. I said, no, I'd be more excited about recovering and healing from all our abuse with you and Steffi and whoever you and Steffi think should come and join the little basketball barn area and stuff, then I would be a super diva that compares me to her conquest of her great sexual conquest of her great legacy of, I'd rather be with people I know that know me and went through hell with me and survived it, I'm Barry Manilow. I made it through the rain. I kept my world protected. I made it through the rain. I kept my point of view. Come on, all you Will and Grace dummy fanatics. And found myself respected by the others who got rained on too and made it through. And, we got Natty through intact. We got Patrick through intact. They can realize all the bad things that happened in their lives wouldn't have happened if we'd just been left alone and Earl's life hadn't have been, Book of Revelation, hi, it's me, Earl, Lord, Ralph and Mary's boy. You tell it to people, you're just crazy. No, you're crazy because you believe in comic books and think you're going to live in a comic world after you're dead. I'm talking about faith based on reality. I'm talking about eliminate the negative, accentuate the positive, and don't mess with Mr. In Between. Right? You know what I'm saying? And so it's hard for me because I know, well, I'm not attached to that outcome. Because if I get attached to it, it makes me sick, it depresses me, and I physically feel like dying. And then I can't be any good in correcting the technology, so we can all use the technology to apply the physics of the Lord's Prayer worldwide. So it's very difficult. It's not that you don't want to let go, it's just you got to understand self-responsibility. Okay, you're responsible for your own thoughts, words, and actions. I'm not responsible for your thoughts, words, and actions. You're responsible for your own. Jesus says that in the Bible. Muhammad says that in the Quran. But it gets corrupted by corporations that live good with your neighbor and pay your bills and lay back, enjoy the rape, learn how to coach basketball at West Point, and then try to destroy any kid that crosses you at Southern Mississippi when he fights back because you're an ass. I remember reading that too when he sat there and talked about Ronnie Lee from University of Oregon. He's the best. The kid doesn't bitch, he doesn't moan, he does this, he goes out and hustles it, and all this. It's like, okay, why don't you coach the way Ronnie Lee plays ball? That's what I thought when I read that article. Why doesn't he fucking, do as I say, don't do as I do? Why does he do that? My dad always know. My dad would always say, my dad would say that to me. Do as I say, don't always do as I do. That what I say is right, but I don't always do everything right. And me, I'm like, no. Okay. Do as I do. Okay. And I'll say what I can say to do as well as I do, and then I'll say, but with me, almost all, no, it's like, yeah. No, it's not an excuse. Not a, the reasons that we're here, the reasons that we feel our feelings won't disappear. How many people in the world have reasons for every disgusting, selfish, horrible thing in their life that was happening to them and happened to them and they had to react to because it was all part of a plan to challenge the Messiah and replace the Messiah with the multi-billionaire surveillance industry's egos. That's why I see why you guys worship the Messiah. I see why he's a God. He's perfect. He's without sin. Technically, yes. Okay. If I'm thrust into the bowels of hell as a baby, I'm being manipulated by the surveillance network and the espionage work to do things their way, and they're not doing things the right way. And the kid explains it to him by the time he's 3, listening to an Easter sermon that's complete bullshit from Spencer J. Kimball. No, you don't kill an innocent person so the guilty person gets away with his crimes and then accepts Jesus as a magic god in the sky and gets to live with him forever. That's insanity. That's classic of all blunders. That's an Asian land war. That's doing a battle of wits with Vicini and putting poison in both classes. That's just crazy. Yeah. You build an immunity to it? You don't build an immunity to it. It kills you. It just kills you slower. It's kind of like Roundup and shit like that. If you can clean the river out and stop putting that shit in, like Jack Daniels, Jim Beam, cigars, cigarettes, cocaine, all that shit, right? People take fentanyl. When they say that, it doesn't do any good when people say it can kill you right when you take it. Oh, wow, and you don't hardly feel it, and it happens just suicide is painless. A brave man once requested me. So if a kid is feeling suicidal and you tell them about fentanyl, that's basically George Herbert Walker Bush and Ricky Ross McDonald's. When he made that public service, and I was like, he's telling everybody where to go get this, that anybody can afford it, and it's better than cocaine, and you can use it to try to get away from your problems or die trying. And it's decreasing the surplus population because Ebenezer Scrooge needs to keep his money. And then what if your housemaid sells your sheets even after warm? What do I care? I'll be dead. But if you have yourself cloned, you'll have her killed and replaced? Okay, you liquidated the group. They were insolent. Right. Okay. Is it an evil petting zoo? Does it have turkey that looks like real turkey with veggies in it? And then not in a bag, but it's really hard and chewy? And it's chewy, it's not crunchy? What if I like crunchy cereal? What if I like Captain Crunch better than chewy cereal? What's chewy cereal? I don't know. Do they have any chewy cereal? Remember grape nuts? Those things, man, they break your teeth, right? I didn't particularly like them. Like shredded wheat. I still like shredded wheat. Did not like grape nuts, no. Anyone else isn't particularly fond of those? They were a little hard to eat, a little different. Um, uh, that's all after my mom got on her health kick, that's all we went from Crafton Crunch and Fruit Loops to, because we were Mormon, to shredded wheat, fruit toast, and fruit toast is expensive, and what's any other stuff, and grape nuts, and then you know, a lot of fruit toast to make those things tolerable when there's no sugar, like the frosted shredded wheats, which we didn't get because they had sugar on it. I was like, Mom, please get the frosted ones. Then I don't have to put all the fruit toast. It'll save you a lot of money. Yeah, but the fruit toast isn't healthy for you. You love your kids, you sweetie pie. I love you, Mary Poop. Right? So she wouldn't do that. What is it? No. I'm trying to get the sugar out of your diet so you're a healthier kid. A lot of that stuff on sugar is because of toxins in the environment, stress in the environment, and stuff like that. Processed sugar is processed the same way cocaine is, but that's like saying that no, because you can process certain things are processed the same way, but there's not cocaine in sugar cane. Okay, just because it's processed the same, because it's a powder, and a guy tells you this, and he's a doctor, and it does this. It's like, okay, just because you process something the same way doesn't mean that, you know what I mean? Okay, you could process grape juice and apple juice the same way you process barley and hops, but you're not going to get the same results out of grape juice unless you take it and let a fungus grow in it with the Sheldon with the right. Okay. You could probably do that with habanero. Okay, so but it's the process is, just because somebody wants to sell you something and someone has destroyed their own life with self-destructive behaviors doesn't mean that you have to give away everything that gives you any kind of pleasure. Like dark chocolate. I love dark chocolate. Me too. Okay. Just don't indulge in it and you won't get sick from it. Okay. I always tell my body this, I'm recovering because of perverts trying to abuse me and champion me, and I saved your life. You saved my life. Okay. Someone save. Would have been a hell of a lot better if you saved my life by showing up to support me as a living Messiah in Cochise County. But you didn't show up then. Okay. Then I did the whole fucking timetable from the Bible, from Revelation and Daniel here in Las Cruces. And you all got like, I got ran over by in the parking lot of a Best Buy during the Obama administration, right? And what I learned during the Obama administration, that black women can be just as big of an asshole in military leadership positions as white men. That's what I learned from the cold-hearted orb that rules the night at fucking White Sands under the Obama administration. I was like, what a bitch. You're not Jocelyn Elders. You're a meanie. You're a meanie. Here. You know what I'm going to get you for Christmas? A big pink bunny outfit. Yeah. And then 24 hours of A Christmas Story. Yeah. Are your feet getting sweaty just thinking about it? Carol. I don't know what her name is. I never looked it up. They just kind of, it was a passing glance. It's like, oh, God. Because you just, okay, maybe I was just thinking, okay, maybe they're under duress. That was my only thing. They must be under duress or they would get to me. Barack Obama would be my best friend. He must be under duress. Jennifer Lopez she was in my dreams from the time I was a kid. She must want to be with me and be my lover. Like with Will Ferrell, and my lover on what was the name of that? Saturday Night Live, right? But she can't. She's under duress. I know she'd get to me if she could. I know. Alita Adams or Brenda Russell. I like both. Me too. You can reach me by caravan, cross the desert like an Arab man. I don't care how you get here. Just because when Steffi, of course I had to pay for a plane ticket, and I did everything. Relationship, paid all the bills, paid off for Al Collins, did everything. Did everything. Got her driving. Give her self-esteem to drive. Did everything. Got her out of the house. Paid off all her debts. Sent her for, took care of her. Put a roof over her head. Fed her. Clothed her. And I hate it here. I hate this. I wish I never married you. Thanks. I love you too. Okay. Appreciate it. Okay. I'm a piece of property for the U.S. military. As you know, I had to, because I was poor, I had to sign up to be a mercenary for genocidal corporations. I'm getting the fuck out. And then, and then she'd always tell me, I wish the government paid for my college. It's like, the government's not paying for my college. I earned that by being a mercenary for a bunch of psychopaths that I couldn't stand and got away from as fast as I could on a daily operation basis, but I can't get them out of my fucking wallet or out of my house through their devices. And then the things, she told me that too. She was, oh no, you didn't pay for Patrick being born. The military, the government did. Bullshit. If I wasn't tortured and a trained mercenary for those fucking idiots that I taught them how to be men again, but they rejected it because they're still perverts, whatever. Yeah, no, I signed up. Okay, that's part of my benefits, and the benefits are part of your salary. So I paid for Patrick to be born. Okay, I don't want to hear any of that shit anymore. And then with Amy, they totally she screwed up everything, my finances, everything. So she was in charge, and I was Samantha without the magic powers, and she was Darren Stevens, only she cheated. It was horrible. And you got all these people, you ought not talk that way. Guys, if they eliminated all my surveillance, how am I going to correct Chinese artificial intelligence to save us from Donald Trump and the Pussycats and Jabberjaw and that cat and that funky phantom ghost? I mean, shit, Major Healy, pull your head out of Major Nelson's ass and realize, what? You're going to have to give me Jeannie because you ain't using her right. Okay, it's just like Darren Stevens. He's crazy. But that's because it's makeup and it's only make-believe. I like that song too. I like Glenn Campbell's as much as I like Conway Twitty's. I might even like Glenn Campbell's more. I really like Glenn Campbell's voice. I think I like Glenn Campbell's Sunflower better than, like I also like Waylon Jennings' You Got to Hide Your Love Away better than the Beatles. Waylon Jennings got a better voice. Here I stand head in hand with my face to the wall. Yeah, he did a lot of Beatles singing. He did Norwegian Wood. He did a lot of Beatles tunes. Yeah, he liked them. So, not Johnny Rodriguez, yeah. Something in the way she did George Harrison, yeah. Attracts me like no other lover. Don't want to leave her now. You know I believe in how. Are you asking me, will my love grow? I don't know. Yeah, stick her around now. It may so. He didn't just do Lefty Frizzell tones, man. Everybody like, no one ever did. Didn't anyone ever redo Saginaw, Michigan? That's a damn good song. I did, but did I do the whole song? I don't know if I did the whole song. I have no musical accompaniment whatsoever. You have to cut me a break. AI can do this and that. No, AI can mimic and replicate Wes Montgomery. But if there was no Wes Montgomery, AI wouldn't sound like the Thumb. If there was no train, AI wouldn't sound like the train. If there was no Mingus, AI wouldn't sound like Mingus. Okay? It's just mimicking the truth of creation with invention to try to replace the truth of creation with ego problems. Fuck, you people are stupid. Yeah, I said it. Fuck! Vulgar intercourse. You're stupid. And I'll say it again. Hey, I've got a whip. I'm going through Solomon's Temple in the cyberspace of insanity of anonymous inhumanity. Right there you go. It's not anonymous. No. This is the most important YouTube channel in the history of the world. And everything that was on Facebook is saved. Yes, it is. And when it sees the light of day and the people in the future are watching our past to see who really cared about who lived or died in the past so they could live through holy covenants and faithful love in the future, everybody's going to remember my name, the son of Ralph and Mary, born in the valley of the shadow of death, and not going to remember any of the politicians that Suzuki don't like. Suzuki don't like you. Why are you running for governor? You should stand up for the Lord's Prayer. You were standing right behind me at the Department of Motor Vehicles. Why didn't you say hi? You know who I am. You really that scared of your own shadow? You do understand the importance of the wisdom and the courage and the eternal faith of the swordsman of Japan, right? I am the sword. I am the way, the truth, and the life. He happens in Japan just like he happens in the Middle East. And when he reads a book and says, there's a like spirit, this one is near the place where they did the bomb site, and he loves us. He sees us as God's people like people given life by the glory of God being tortured and murdered and abused, and hell invented by humans denying us faith in the truth of creation. It's in the book of Revelation. Suzuki knows how to read. Him and Sun Yat-sen, they can read a book, and yeah, they were just like me. Okay. And they were older men when they read it, and they weren't distracted by J-Lo's butt and Lola Falana's butt and Barbara Luna's lips and Miriam Colon. Oh my gosh, she's so pretty. And you know what I'm saying? They weren't distracted by, their emotional and sex lives and things were always made uncomfortable and made miserable by selfish cows just like mine. King David's, Jesus's, the whole 9 yards. Jesus is a man and loved Mary Magdalene very much. Loved her as much as I loved my wife's. I can't love them more, but as much as I do. I couldn't love my wife's the way I wanted to because of the devil's virtual presence, and I still can't love my wife's the way I want to, because we all need to be loved, but we all don't need a virtual presence of mind rapists and perverts in our house. You guys are terrified of Carl in the cell? Guys, the people in your government, these are the people in your neighborhood that won't stand up for the Lord's Prayer and still charge you for money and say there's something spiritual and holy about all the unholy things. For some ungodly reason, they just won't let it die. Because neither one of us, you say farewell, my love, goodbye, but it's not love, it's brain chemical addiction. If you really love, you'll forgive, debt, and trespass, love one, eternal, faithful peace, and love your wives and children and your husbands and your children for the first time in like 100,000 years. Albert Einstein's understanding of Jesus and Muhammad and myself has just been updated by Earl. It's Windows Vista 2027. I'm ahead of the curve. Can't you understand? I'm joking around. But you guys understand Vista? So you can see, Ándale pues, Sierra Vista. See all the mountains? Okay. That's what Peter Fabre said when he came. He goes, that's a good name for this town. Everywhere you see, there's mountains in the distance. There's the Whetstones, there's the Mules, there's the Huachucas, there's the Dragoons. Oh, I love the Dragoons. They're beautiful. Yeah, which stronghold is that? The Chiricahuas are gorgeous. When the sun comes through them, you have to stop and go, that's so beautiful. Everybody, they were dangerous and deadly. If you came to fight and kill, yes. But if you were trying to raise your kids from other people that were transhumans, raiders, murderers, and violent sex cult people, there was a lot of beauty in there. Places to keep your watch and keep your wives and children safe from perverts. It's all in, we are what we do. Judged by our deed, are we?